Shalom, Lord in Christ. To the brothers out there, Shalom, Yahweh, Bashim Yishai, Barakatam. To the sisters, Yahweh, Shema, Alatam, Bashim Yishai. I am Priest Shargapon of the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Started out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York. And under commanding General Yohana, we have been teaching the truth according to the Bible that so-called blacks, so-called Hispanics, and so-called Native Americans are the real children of Israel. We are the only children of God. And today is ISUPK history class. And oh, what a wonderful class it will be, because this is a wonderful week to live in. That is in reference to Valentine's Day. Now, I'm pretty sure you've seen all in your supermarkets, CVS's, Walgreens, Burlington Coat Factories, Marshalls, Kruger's, Costco's, everywhere you pretty much go, you will be seeing Valentine's Day gifts and items for sale for you and your loved ones. You'll see chocolates at overpriced. You'll see overpriced chocolates. You'll see flowers that are overpriced. You'll see big giant teddy bears that are made for a quarter or 35 cents being sold for $20, $25. You'll see Hallmark cards on sale. You'll see Hallmark cards not on sale. You'll see all these items that are tailored to this day called Valentine's Day. You're going to see a lot of black and Hispanic people all up in Applebee's and TGIFs, right? You're going to see people filling up Dave & Buster's and P.F. Chang's and all these restaurants. You're going to see a lot of people in there on Valentine's Day, for Valentine's Day, or for Valentine's week. And the sad truth is, it's a waste of time. This is a holiday that is spiritually for whores. That's what it's really for. A holiday that is spiritually for whores, for simps, for suckers. It's big business that's being utilized to prey on your sensitivity, your emotions, to romanticize this day for you to be mushy and gushy and soft and weak and moist. It's just an overall holiday where you're going to be taken advantage of. And living in this day and age, it's very sad to celebrate Valentine's Day. You know, you get those usual Valentine's Day rejections, right? You get those Valentine's Day breakups, right? Tell me if you've heard this one before. Break up with your woman the day before or the week before Valentine's Day because you ain't got no money to buy Valentine's, and then you get back with them, make up the week after when you do get some money, right? Anyone ever done that before or heard that before? Papito J, damn, y'all love talking about homosexuality. It's crazy how you would think we were talking about homosexuality. But, you know, I guess when you are a sexual deviant, maybe homosexuality is something that is on your mind to the point where you have to type it in. Papito J, good luck with that sexual deviancy, and men with men is not righteous. Just keep that in mind, all right? So we're going to get into this wicked holiday called Valentine's Day, right? And there's so many stories that people have traced Valentine's Day back to. They've traced it back, you know, all the way to the Roman holiday of Lupercalia. They traced it back to Cupid, or his Greek name Eros, right? They've traced it back to all types of things, to the different Saint Valentines, a whole lot of nonsense. But the truth is, Valentine's Day is a wicked holiday that has nothing to do with God. And if you, like Papito J, like to talk about Valentine's Day or want to be part of Valentine's Day, there's something wrong with you. Mentally, you're sick. And mentally, you should not be allowed to have access to a keyboard and internet because you don't know how to control yourself in person. There's not going to be that much limitations for you on the metaverse or the internet. So Papito J and all the other sexual deviants out there, this is going to be a great class for you to learn not to be a homosexual. It's going to be a great class for you to not celebrate Valentine's Day. And hopefully it'll be a great class for you, like Papito J and all the other people out there that celebrate Valentine's Day, on how to be more righteous, right? And how to obey and follow God's laws, statutes, and commandments. So this goes out to Papito J, who's a sexual deviant, and to all the other people out there that are going to be celebrating Valentine's Day. So let's get right into it, right? So Papito J, keep following us. We're going to help you out with that sexual deviancy and that mental illness of a same-sex love that you have in your mind. If you can share that first tab for the History Channel. There we go. Papito J, don't leave us. Stay with us. This is for you. Right? Look at this is right here is for Papito J, because this is what he likes to see. But we're going to, slowly crush this idea out of his head like we're going to do with everyone else that celebrates Valentine's Day. So let's jump right into Valentine's Day. Go ahead, read what history.com has to say. That way Papito J and everyone else can get some information into their brains.
Valentine's Day occurs every February 14th. In 2024, Valentine's Day falls on a Wednesday. Across the United States and in other places around the world, candy, flowers, and gifts are exchanged between loved ones, all in the name of Saint Valentine. But who is this mysterious saint, and where did these traditions come from? Find out about the meaning and history of Valentine's Day from the ancient Roman ritual of Lupercalia that welcomed spring to the card-giving customs of Victorian England.
Now we're going to learn about this history and these customs, which I'm pretty sure Papito J might still be involved in. But we're going to talk about, I believe, where Saint Valentine comes from. Please, go ahead and read.
Where did Valentine's Day originate from? The history of the holiday and the story of its patron saint is shrouded in mystery.
Now, just want to let you know, there is no saints according to the Bible in the manner that the Christian and Catholic Church have saints. The Catholic Church and the Christian Church have saints for safe travel, saints for a good birth, saints for wealth, and saints for this and saints for that. That's not biblical. That's more man-made ideology, right? That's these are things that the Catholic Church has created based on its paganist roots, right? And Valentine's Day is a pagan, has pagan roots. Homosexuality, which is what Papito J likes to talk about, has paganist roots, right? Keep going.
We do know that February has long been celebrated as a month of romance.
A what?
A month of romance.
Yeah, because this is that month where homosexuals like Papito J and everyone else who celebrates February and this month of romance and love, you got that spirit in the air. You want to be all mushy and gushy. You want to have two sticks go into each other when it just doesn't make sense, right? You want to have all types of engage in all types of sexual deviancy, sleeping with multiple men, sleeping with multiple women, engaging in orgies. This is what this whole month of February, especially February 14th, is about. It has its roots going all the way back to these pagan rituals and customs. Keep going.
And that St. Valentine's Day, as we know it today, contains vestiges of both Christian and ancient Roman tradition.
Christian and ancient Roman tradition. There is no, Christian, you could say that, but biblical tradition, Valentine's Day has nothing to do with the Bible. In fact, the Bible speaks against learning the culture and ways of the heathen. Like Papito J, I don't know if you know, engaging in homosexuality was a culture of the heathen. Now, I know your mental health concerns may interfere with you understanding this, so I want to go and get the scripture. That way we can provide this more information for you. If you can get the scripture in the Bible, learn not the way of the heathen, we're going to help Papito J to help solidify that homosexuality is a heathen pagan custom, just like celebrating Valentine's Day is a heathen pagan culture. You got it right there?
Okay.
All right, nice and loud, so that way Papito J can hopefully gain some of this wisdom. Keep going.
Jeremiah chapter 10 and verse 2.
You heard that, Papito? Jeremiah. If you have a Bible, open it up to Jeremiah 10. If you don't, use that keyboard that you're typing in now, and just go on Bible.com or something like that and type in Jeremiah chapter 2. Read.
Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen.
Homosexuality is what?
Learn not the way of the heathen.
Valentine's Day is what?
Learn not the way of the heathen.
Cupid is from a culture of what?
Learn not the way of the heathen.
Right? You want to give people candies, balloons, and hearts and kisses. That's what?
Learn not the way of the heathen.
And Papito J, just for the last time, homosexuality is
the way of the heathen.
And you shouldn't learn that. So let's stop talking about that. Let's try to have some more discipline and self-control, because sexual deviancy can destroy you. Keep going.
And be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them.
Right, so you can go back to the article. So learning about Valentine's Day is a heathen culture. Celebrating Valentine's Day is a heathen culture. Engaging in all the practices that is associated with modern day Valentine's Day is the way of the heathen. It's not our culture. So-called black, so-called Hispanic, so-called Native Americans should not be celebrating Valentine's Day. Keep going with the article.
But who was Saint Valentine, and how did he become associated with this ancient rite?
So, let's find out.
The Catholic Church recognizes at least 3 different saints named Valentine or Valentinus, all of whom were martyred.
Yeah, so they didn't have not one Valentine. The Catholic Church says that they had like about 3 Valentines or Valentinus, who the holiday may be part of, right? Keep going.
One legend contends that Valentine was a priest who served during the 3rd century in Rome. When Emperor Claudius II decided that single men made better soldiers than those with wives and families, he outlawed marriage for young men.
And that's absolutely crazy, because in Greek and Roman culture, it was a custom for people like Papito J to engage in homosexuality, especially in the army, right? The army wanted to create a greater bond between soldiers, between brethren. So what they did was something that Papito J likes to talk about. They promoted homosexuality. They had men sleeping with their war brothers, or the people in their platoon or in the army, instead of focusing more on a family like a wife and children. So here, Emperor Claudius II decided to take all the single men, right, and declared it illegal for them to engage in heterosexual relationships with women. Things that people in the ISUPK like. Men being with women, natural born females with an XX chromosome, right? Not people that transition and shift like Autobots and Decepticons, which is probably something up Papito's line, but actual naturally born female women born with XX chromosome, the way God made them to be, right? We're not talking about, shifting into turbo and going into the opposite direction. So they made it illegal for single men to have women and children. Keep going.
Valentine, realizing the injustice of the decree.
And in fact, there was an injustice. Like, what man does not want to be without a woman or women besides Papito J? But what other men don't want a woman? Here in the ISUPK, it is of the Lord for a man to have many women, one woman, or no women, right? But it's such an injustice to outlaw not having women. That's like saying you can't eat meat according to the Bible. You have to be a vegetarian or a vegan. That is just not true whatsoever. That is an injustice, right? So declaring that you can't be with a woman is an injustice. That's basically promoting what Papito J likes, homosexuality. Keep reading, please.
Defied Claudius and continued to perform marriages for young lovers in secret.
So this Valentine defied Emperor Claudius II's orders and was secretly marrying people, in secrets, and outside in the wilderness, in mountains, in caves, wherever he can do it, where no one could see or report back to Claudius. Keep going.
When Valentine's actions were discovered, Claudius ordered that he be put to death.
So when Claudius eventually did find out, he, unalived Valentine. Keep going.
Still others insist that it was Saint Valentine of Terni, a bishop who was the true namesake of the holiday. He too was beheaded by Claudius II outside Rome.
So here we go for another Valentine. Who knows why it was called Valentine's Day? The point is, it doesn't matter why it was called Valentine's Day. The importance is the meaning behind this day, right? Now, this day has its origins that are traced back to a Roman pagan festival that took place on February 15th, called Lupercalia. Now, if you go to the second tab, we're going to go into Lupercalia. If you can share that, please. Thank you. And go to StreamYard real quick. Oh, man, I think Papito J left. He's not commenting no more. Well, hopefully, you get the help you need. Okay, so let's keep going. Now we're shifting from history.com and we're going to Britannica Encyclopedia, right? So please read.
Lupercalia, ancient Roman festival that was conducted annually on February 15th under the superintendence of a corporation of priests called Luperci.
So, on February 15th, during the ancient Roman days, every year on February 15th, this ancient ritual, this ancient holiday, was performed by you call it an organization, a group of men who were called Luperci or leprosy, whatever you want to call it, right? Keep going.
The origins of the festival are obscure, although the likely derivation of its name from lupus, Latin for wolf, has variously suggested connection with an ancient deity who protected herds from wolves and with the legendary she-wolf who nursed Romulus and Remus. As a fertility rite, the festival is also associated with the god Faunus.
So this is absolutely baloney, right? No she-wolf is raising Romulus and Remus. That is just Roman lore. All false, right? But they are giving credit to this she-wolf, this animal that suckled Romulus and Remus, right? And then they also give credit to this faun, who his name in Roman culture is the faun, but in Greek culture he was known as Pan, P-A-N, right? Keep going.
Each Lupercalia began with the sacrifice by the Luperci of goats and a dog.
Of what?
Goats and a dog.
So what they did was, like the Chinese, they sacrificed dogs and goats. And if you don't understand what that means is they took these animals, these goats and these dogs, and they unalived them on their altar for this day of Lupercalia. They unalived these goats and unalived these dogs. They sacrificed them. Keep going.
After which two of the Luperci were led to the altar, their foreheads were touched with a bloody knife, and the blood was wiped off with wool dipped in milk.
Stop. Now just picture that image, right? You got these two men walking up to the altar. The knife that was used to unalive these poor creatures, right, is all bloody, and they're using this bloody knife to put on the foreheads of both these so-called priests, right? And then as the blood is running down their face, they took the wool from these goats, they dipped it in milk, right? They dipped the wool in milk, and then they used that milk-covered wool to wipe their faces with it. So now they got blood and milk on their face. Keep going.
The ritual required that the two young men laugh.
And then, strangely enough, after the wool was wiped on their face, they were required to laugh. Now, I don't understand what the laughing part is for, and I'm glad I don't, because it just doesn't make sense. The point of laughing after you just unalived animals, you smeared their blood on your foreheads and then wiped your faces clean with their fur. It doesn't make sense to laugh. But then again, I'm glad I'm not a heathen,
Right.
and I don't have to understand the meanings of some of the things that heathens do in their cultures. Keep going.
The sacrificial feast followed. The sacrificial feast followed.
So after this, they had a feast. They drank. They had food. Well, like every other feast that Romans did, like every other orgy that Romans engaged in, it was filled with revelers, right? Keep going.
Afterwards, the Luperci cut thongs from the skin of cut thongs.
What?
Cut thongs.
Women wear what?
Thongs.
Valentine's Day, if you're lucky, your woman is wearing a what?
Thongs.
Women are going to be shopping for what?
Thongs.
Victoria's Secret is going to be filled with sales of what?
Thongs.
Okay, listen. Cisco made a popular song back in the 90s, early 2000s, and it was about what?
Thongs.
So listen, read that again.
Afterwards, the Luperci cut thongs from the skins of the sacrificial animals and ran in two bands around the Palatine Hill, striking with the thongs. So they're
using these blood-covered thongs. You know, they cut the skin of the goats into thongs, little strips of things. That's what a thong is. Little strips of fabric that are used to make some type of covering that people, find attractive and use for sexual appeasements and sexual imagery, right? But they're going around the Palatine Hill with these thongs that are bloody, and they're whipping people, not just people, specifically women. They're whipping women with these bloody thongs, these bloody pieces of the flesh of these goats. They're whipping women. Bang, bang, bang. Right? Keep going.
At any woman who came near them. A blow from the thong was supposed to render a woman fertile.
What?
A blow from the thong was supposed to render a woman fertile.
So you're telling me that if you got hit with this thong, that you would become fertile, apparently. This is more, Roman pagan garbage and nonsense, right? The only person that's going to make you fertile is the Lord.
Right.
That's the only one that makes you barren or makes you populate the earth with righteous seed of men of Israel. It's not no blood-soaked thong stripped of skins from goats. It's not running around all drunk and filled with meat and hitting women with bloody strips of skin. That is absolute insanity. And this is where Valentine's Day gets its origins from, right? Because like I said, women end up wearing sexy lingerie, right? Sexy thongs, half naked. They love the color pink and red and every color in between, right? We got all these same similar symbolisms and colors that are associated with this holiday that are very apparent today. Keep going.
In 494 CE, the Christian church under Pope Gelasius
Stop. Scroll back up real quick. I want to go to the next tab real quick. Okay, no, let's keep it. Okay, go back. Right? I want everyone to know that during this holiday, the people would run around naked or almost naked. So think about men running around the area naked, whipping women with these thongs, right? Keep going.
forbade participation in the festival. Tradition holds that the appropriated the form of the rite as the Feast of the Purification, or Candlemas, celebrated on February 2nd, but it is likely that the Christian feast was established in the previous century. It has also been alternately suggested that Pope Gelasius I replaced Lupercalia with St. Valentine's Day, celebrated on February 14th, but the origin of that holiday was likely much later.
Scroll down. Okay, so, right, this is missing some items, and I want to make sure I fill them in for you, right? So you can go and Google this yourself, Lupercalia, right? And after the men would beat and hit these women with these thongs, right? Women would put their names into a jar. Think of a jar, you know, like think of a big pot that you have on your kitchen in your kitchen right now. Women would write their names on some piece of paper or item, put it in this jar, right? And men would go, put their hands in, move it around, right? Pick out one piece of paper, read it, and it'll have a woman's name on it, right? For the entire festival, that man and that woman were now a couple, engaging in whatever kind of sexual deviancy they wanted to, right? Sometimes this arrangement lasted longer than just for the festival. It can last until the next year of Lupercalia. So here they are, this man and this woman having all types of sexual intercourse all year long, and then here comes the next Lupercalia, and the man will be able to trade her in for a new woman, and a woman be able to trade her man in and hopefully get a new man by putting her name back in the jar. Crazy. That's basically what happens with Valentine's this year, right? How many people can relate to having one Valentine's one year, and then the next year when Valentine's Day comes around, you got a whole new Valentine's Day because you're no longer with that person, right? How many days, weeks, and months were you having sex with this person after Valentine's Day, and you guys stop having sex with each other? Here comes a new Valentine's Day, and now you have a new Valentine's, and now you're with this person, having sex with this person, right? That is what Valentine's Day is today. Valentine's Day today is a more culturally accepted form of making sex more acceptable and at random, right? You no longer need to have some type of sacred intimacy with someone that was so special and so strong that it couldn't be broken, right? Now it's a random sexual acceptance. You can have sex with more than one man on this day. You can have sex with more than one woman on this day and toss them to the side or leave them and wait for next Valentine's Day. That is what Valentine's Day is in today's day and age, right? You're going to have this one woman, this one girl who's a whore, who's going to go on 2 Valentine's dates on Valentine's Day, another Valentine's Day date the next day, and then since we're close to the weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, she got something lined up as well, right? You got a man who's going to go on a Valentine's date with a woman, and he's thinking, oh man, this was so special. You know, we went to Fogo de Chao and had some nice steak and lamb. She looked like she's in love with me. I think this is going to go somewhere. And then the next day, she's going to be on a Valentine's date with someone else, making that person feel the same exact way. There's nothing special about Valentine's Day. Keep going, please. Sorry. Okay, right? So there we go. We learned about Saint Valentine, the man, the myth, the legends, right? Because apparently there's supposed to be like 3 Valentine's Day. We learned about the Roman day, Lupercalia, right? Now, I want to talk about Cupid. Who knows about Cupid? No one knows about Cupid? Anyone in the chat? Anyone know about Cupid?
You mean like the real like history behind it?
Yeah, what do you know?
No,
Cupid?
I mean just what they show in cartoons and whatnot, little baby flying around.
Okay, brother.
Yeah, that baby holding an arrow with the heart.
Right, the little baby with the wings, wearing a diaper, right? Naked. The baby's naked, except for the diaper. He got those white wings on him, golden curly lock hair, right? He got the golden bow, the golden arrows, the brown bow, and he's shooting out hearts and love at people to make them fall in love. Well, it's more than that, right? Cupid was, they refer to Cupid as being a monster, right? Cupid wasn't always some little baby in a diaper, right? Cupid was a older teenage male that will cause mayhem and cause trouble to both gods and mortals alike. Let's read this Time magazine article on the history of Cupid. Please scroll to the top real quick. So, please read the title.
Cherubic Cupid is everywhere on Valentine's Day. Here's why that famous embodiment of desire is a child.
A what?
A child.
Doesn't that sound homosexual, like pedophilia like? Why the image is a desire of a child. Yeah.
Just more Roman culture.
Yeah, because it is more Roman culture. It's Roman Greek culture. That's exactly where Cupid comes from. People don't think about it. They just think, oh, it's Cupid. He's coming to bring love. No, Cupid goes all the way back to Roman Greek culture. He was a very, the gods feared him. Regular mortal men feared him. And here's why.
Every year on February 14th, Valentine's Day is marked by shades of pink, flowers, chocolates, romantic movies, and wine, and images of a magical baby boy who flies around shooting arrows at people. But despite his infant form, that baby, widely known these days as Cupid, began his mythological life as a man who had more power than any god.
Did any of us know that? Anyone know that? No? Keep going.
In the Greek literary sources we have, he's depicted as just unconquerable. Richard Martin, a classics professor at Stanford University, tells Time.
He was unconquerable. That means no god or man could defeat Cupid because of the power that he possessed. Keep going.
So whatever he wants to happen, happens, and he causes disaster.
And basically whatever Cupid wants to happen is what happens. If he wants you to fall in love, there's nothing you can do to fight that. Your psyche, foreshadowing here, your psyche will not be able to control itself because Cupid has control over your emotions, your desires. He can control your will. Keep going.
The original Cupid was more of a heartthrob than a cherub. Traced back to 700 BC, this character of legend was called Eros, Martin explains, the Greek word for desire.
So, in Greek, this character that we know as Cupid, in the Greek language, he was called Eros, which meant desire. Keep going.
In the archaic period, Eros, the son of Aphrodite, the goddess of love.
So, his mother, Eros, or Cupid, his mother was Aphrodite. And Aphrodite was known to be the goddess of love. Right? Keep going.
Would play with the hearts of mortals and gods to cause mayhem.
And what he did was, he would play. That sounds, pause. It sounds so homosexual. What Eros would do is, he would manipulate the feelings, the minds, the emotions, the desires, the lust, the hearts of anyone, which will cause disasters to happen, mayhem to happen, because he, on one situation, he can cause a god to fall in love with the woman of another god and cause a war. He can cause a man to fall in love with a woman and then make that same woman be disgusted by that man. Right? Keep going.
Depicted as a young man in his late teens, he was considered both handsome and threatening, as he would use his power to make people fall in love.
And look, wait, go scroll back up. So, scroll down. Go to the picture, right? Leave it right there. Boom. Okay, so this is a statue of Eros, of Cupid. So we have a naked baby, which comes from this naked man. So that should tell you right there, the Greeks and the Romans, they engage in all types of sexual deviancy. Why would they be having images and statues of a naked man and then transform it to desensitize that in this day and age to a naked baby? Brother?
Did you say he was considered a god?
He was a god.
He was a god.
Yes. His name was Eros. the son of Aphrodite. There's many different parents that are associated with Cupid Eros. Some say he was Aphrodite, the son of Aphrodite and Zeus, which would make him the father of Eros and also the grandfather of Eros at the same time. A lot of incest in the Greek culture and Greek mythology, right? Keep going.
In a choral ode from Sophocles' Antigone, circa 440 BCE, Eros' power is described as almost sinister. Eros, invincible in battle. Eros, who falls upon men's property. You who spend the night upon the soft cheeks of a girl and travel over the sea and through the huts of dwellers in the wild. None among the immortals can escape. You, nor any among mortal men, and he who has you is mad.
Right? There's nothing that you can do. You can be in the bed of a pretty girl one moment and then off to war the next. Kind of reminds me of the movie Troy, with Helen and Troy, right? How Paris was just so in love with Helen, right? They were so in love with each other, even though she was already married to what? Not Agamemnon. Was it Agamemnon? Or Agamemnon's brother? One of them, right? And that whole love started a huge war, right? Which led to disaster. Keep going.
In Hippolytus, a 5th century BCE play by Euripides, the frightening notion that Eros could force the wrong people into love is highlighted. I pray that love may never come to me, with murderous intent, in rhythms measureless and wild, the ancient playwright wrote. Love translates to Eros in Greek passages about the god.
And it's crazy. People were afraid of Eros. Were afraid of the power that he possessed, right? Keep going.
This is pretty far off from the modern depiction of this god as a playful little boy. It's more like he causes you to fall in love, and that can lead to tragedy, Martin says of Eros, a cosmic force for bringing things together. But something strange happened around the 4th century BCE. People were intimidated by this sexually powerful, controlling man who could strike people into loving one another. But social status of women in Athens,
All right, here we go to the sophisticated society of Athens, Greece. The social status of women. Let's see how women played a part in shaping Eros and shaping Cupid. Keep going.
the central city of Greek literature, was falling drastically. Increasingly, Eros' stories were linked to stories about his mother, Aphrodite. His mother, Aphrodite.
So we got this god that might have some mommy issues. Right? Keep going.
If a woman controlled his every move, Martin speculates, then mortals had no reason to fear him. Eros was suddenly not so powerful anymore. He would act only on his mother's wishes.
Right? So now Eros, Cupid, is bounded by the power of a woman, his mom. He can't do anything now, right? The thought was being spread that he is powerless due to his mother having control over him. Just like you're powerless over love because women control it, right? You ain't getting no love tonight unless the woman wants some love, right? You ain't going 10 toes deep in them sheets if the woman's ain't down. If the woman's not down for it, right? The woman has that key to that sex, has that key to that love, right? Keep going.
The way to sort of constrain, constrict, and diffuse Eros is to keep infantilizing him. He's under control. Is to keep infantilizing him.
Is to keep infantilizing him. Keep him in the state of a baby. Harmless. Innocent. Right? Something you can control, you have power over. Keep going.
Martin says, based on his mother's wishes rather than his own chaotic impulses, he would use his powers to create relationships between people. When the Roman era began, because Greeks were seen as culturally sophisticated, much of this Greek mythology was adopted by the new ruling classes. And when the Romans conscripted the Eros mythology, they chose to bring over the more recent iteration of the god as a cute little kid.
So when the Romans came into full effect, they no longer used the ancient Greek baby Cupid that we know of today? Keep going.
They named him Cupid, a synonym for Eros that also translates to desire. His mother was likewise Venus, the Roman version of the Greek Aphrodite.
So everything got transferred over to Roman culture. They took Greek culture and did a little twist to make it Roman culture. Venus and Roman was Aphrodite in Greek. Cupid in Roman was Eros in Greek. Keep going.
For the Romans, the character of Cupid was always a cherubic little boy who followed his mother's wishes to make people fall in love.
And that's what people don't know of today. No one knows that Cupid is making people fall in love because of his mother. People don't even know about that until they're seeing it right here, right now, right? People think it's just baby Cupid going around making people fall in love, when in fact it's his mother that's telling Cupid, go make these people fall in love. Keep going.
It wasn't just the Romans who became obsessed with the Greek portrayal of Cupid. Centuries later, Renaissance painters took up this imagery and depicted the Cupid figure as a child. This is seen in 1602 with Caravaggio's Cupid, which showed a young, nude boy with wings and a bow.
What?
With wings and a bow.
Listen, white people have an obsession with nakedness and naked children.
Right.
You see it all over their art. You see it in their most dominant cultures like Greek and Rome. You can go to Catholic churches and see naked babies, naked little angels in the image of babies flying around Jesus. There's just some obsession with nakedness and naked babies that white people have, right? And it's due to their innate, ingrained sexual deviancy that has not gone away because it's still very much alive here in 2024. White people and their sexual deviancy is so pronounced. You see it on your children's cartoons. You'll see their white people's sexual deviancies in your TV shows, in your movies, right? How many of you grew up watching, let's say, Boy Meets World or Saved by the Bell? Anyone? You never seen Boy Meets World?
I've seen it, yeah. I wouldn't say I grew up watching it, but I've seen it.
Saved by the Bell,
Yeah.
right? You know, they're kids, right? And on these shows, they're making these kids kiss, get into relationships. You don't find that weird? They're forcing these kids, they're paying these kids to kiss on screen for the world to see. They're forcing these kids to have some type of intimate relationship on screen. They're paying them, and you and your children are consuming this. Did you guys ever think about that? You know, like a girl's first kiss, and she's dreaming about, oh my kiss, how I'll be my Prince Charming, and she's like 12, 14.
Wasn't Cinderella like that?
I don't know too much about the Cinderella story, but that was a young girl. You know what I'm saying? You guys never thought about that? They're paying children to act like adults and do adult things when they're kids in kid-themed television shows. Desiring to be with someone. Why does a 10-year-old girl need to desire to be with that 12-year-old boy? What are they teaching your kids at such a young age? Showing Corey and Topanga kiss for the very first time on screen. Why would you want your children to be kissing other children at such a young age? Why would you want to let your children watch other children on TV kiss and do things that grown-ups do? You know, kiddie porn is illegal. Pornography that involves children is illegal. That's why Steve from, I think it was Steve from Subway got caught up because he was watching kiddie porn. But here we are on the Disney Channel. You got Topanga and Corey Matthews locking lips, holding hands, being boyfriend and girlfriend, going on dates, they're children. And now no one questions why a 13-year-old is dating a 15-year-old and having sex. Oh, that's just what kids do. No, that's not what kids do. That's the culture, like Valentine's Day. People, you don't think these kids are watching grown people obsessed over Valentine's Day? And you don't think it's trickling down to these children? How many of you were in junior high school? High school. Giving Valentine's Day gifts to girls, hoping, you guys go on dates, maybe you guys holding hands and going steady and kissing each other in the hallway and walking each other to your locker and taking the train together and having sex. Right? It stems from somewhere. It's these holidays like these that are so filled with so much sexual deviancy, and they push it in every single avenue for us to digest, whether it's in cartoons, TV shows, newspapers, movies, books, being talked about in class. It's everywhere. And Valentine's Day is just another tool that is used to make blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans sin before God. Right? Keep going.
Valentine's Day was already becoming popular in the 18th century, and by the turn of the 19th century, Cupid had become linked to the holiday for his love-creating abilities.
So somehow, some way, they linked this naked baby with the Lupercalia, right? They linked this naked baby who makes people fall in love with Valentine's Day. Keep going.
He said in the comments the volume is low.
My bad. Let's see. Check. Okay. Check. My fault. So what did you guys miss? What's the last thing you guys heard? If y'all can type it in, what's the last thing you guys heard? 'Cause I was Adawan, we can't hear you. Can you hear me now? Type a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. Type a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. Type a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. Let's see what's going on here. Let's check out why there's no
There's a
sound.
1.
Oh, you can hear me? Okay, perfect. Okay. All right, cool. What's the last thing you heard me say? If anyone could type in the chat, what's the last thing you heard me say? Okay, no sweat. Apparently you wasn't hearing me because his mic died all of a sudden. Okay, so what I was basically saying is that the white man's culture is filled with so much sexual deviancy that it's ingrained in our children's television shows, our television shows, cartoons, movies, right? It's everywhere. And it's holidays like Valentine's Day that help promote this sexual deviancy that's so ingrained in white society and white culture. That's basically what I was saying. All right, keep reading.
It's no surprise that when greeting card manufacturers made products for the holiday, they included imagery of Cupid that was inspired by beloved Renaissance art. Samantha Bradbeer, the historian for Hallmark Cards Incorporated, explains. Those 19th century greeting card publishers were simply following suit with what was on trend, Bradbeer tells Time.
And having that baby Cupid on all these Valentine's Day cards, like this one right here, was the trend. They started to merge the idea of Valentine's Day and love with Cupid, this Greek Roman god. Yeah, brother?
I remember in Catholic school at 6th grade, everybody handing out the Valentine's Day cards.
Listen, I was a young whippersnapper myself, I've gave many of girls cards and, engaged in all types of acts with women during my time in the world for Valentine's Day. You know, so I definitely can speak from experience the type of things that would be done on Valentine's Day. You know, keep going.
The industry really hit its stride in the 1850s after Congress voted to decrease postage rates in an effort to circumvent the privatization of the Postal Service. This postal reform made it possible for everyday Americans to send and receive mail, while the Industrial Revolution brought the advent of printing press technology. So when Hallmark began manufacturing Valentine's Day cards in 1916, this mass production meant sending postcards was much cheaper and easier. As Valentine's Day became more convenient, Cupid imagery only continued to grow. Valentine's Day has remained one of Hallmark's two biggest holidays, along with Christmas, since the company's founding as a postcard company in 1910. In fact, industry-wide, around 145 million Valentine's Day cards are sent annually, not including children's classroom cards, Bradbeer says. It may seem strange still that we would collectively associate a baby with a bow and arrow as a symbol of this extraordinarily popular holiday, but it's actually quite simple. Though Roman and Greek traditions left us with this partly mischievous, partly powerful Cupid, he serves a different purpose in modern culture, Bradbeer believes. The Greek conception of Eros as a god who used his power for ill is not what Cupid stands for today. Sometimes people need a little bit of a push to make that first move, to better express themselves, she says. I think sometimes having Cupid depicted on the card behind a couple, he's kind of pushing them together to do just that, to express their love and their friendship.
Yeah, garbage. Go back. You can leave that and go back to the history article, Baba Shah. All right, so just scroll down a little bit. Let's see. We read this about Lupercalia, right? Test. Roman priest. Yeah, hold on. Scroll down just a little bit. Let's read about this. Start from where it says Lupercalia, right? We're gonna go into more information about Valentine's Day and its history. Keep going.
Lupercalia survived the initial rise of Christianity, but was outlawed as it was deemed unchristian at the end of the 5th century when Pope Gelasius declared February 14th St. Valentine's Day. It was not until much later, however, that the day became definitively associated with love. During the Middle Ages, it was commonly believed in France and England that February 14th was the beginning of birds' mating season, which added to the idea that the middle of Valentine's Day should be a day for romance. The English poet Geoffrey Chaucer was the first to record St. Valentine's Day as a day of romantic celebration in his 1375 poem Parliament of Fools, writing, "For this was sent on St. Valentine's Day, when every fool cometh there to choose his mate." Valentine's greetings were popular as far back as the Middle Ages.
Saying Happy Valentine's Day, will you be mine, goes as far back as the Middle Ages. Keep going.
Though written Valentines didn't begin to appear until after 1400. The oldest known Valentine still in existence today was a poem written in 1415 by Charles, Duke of Orleans, to his wife while he was imprisoned in the Tower of London following his capture at the Battle of Agincourt. The greeting is now part of the manuscript collection of the British Library in London. Several years later, it is believed that King Henry V hired a writer named John Lydgate to compose a Valentine note to Catherine of Valois. Who is Cupid?
So we talked about Cupid. Scroll down right there. Typical what?
Typical Valentine's Day greetings and gifts.
So let's see what you're gonna be wasting your money on this week, right? To give to someone who's gonna use you and lose you. Keep going.
In addition to the United States, Valentine's Day is celebrated in Canada, Mexico, the United Kingdom, France, and Australia. In Great Britain, Valentine's Day began to be popularly celebrated around the 17th century. By the middle of the 18th, it was common for friends and lovers of all social classes to exchange small tokens of affection or handwritten notes, and by 1900, printed cards began to replace written letters due to improvements in printing technology.
You remember that, writing those notes in class? Will you be mine? Circle yes or no. Or checkbox yes or checkbox no, right? Keep going.
Ready-made cards were an easy way for people to express their emotions in a time when direct expression of one's feelings was discouraged. Cheaper postage rates also contributed to an increase in the popularity of sending Valentine's Day greetings. Americans probably began exchanging handmade Valentines in the early 1700s. In the 1840s, Esther A. Howland began selling the first mass-produced Valentines in America. Howland, known as the mother of the Valentine, made elaborate creations with real lace, ribbons, and colorful pictures known as scrap. Today, according to Hallmark, an estimated 145 million Valentine's Day cards are sent each year, making Valentine's Day the second largest card-sending holiday of the year after Christmas.
And women love those cards, man. Women absolutely love those cards, cards that come with, now it gets like really creative. I've seen a TikTok the other day promoting Valentine's Day where there's this box, this woman's opening up this box, and the next thing you know, paper butterflies come popping out. You know what I'm saying? They're flying all over the place, and she jumps in and gets scared, and the box opens up to like a flower holding a ring, and it's ridiculous, but women love it. Women love days like this, right? And if it wasn't for women's gullibility, we wouldn't have to worry about days like this. Because women, God forbid, you don't give your mom a Valentine's Day card. My mom knows not to expect nothing from me. God forbid you don't give your wife, your girlfriend, your grandmother a Valentine's Day card, because all hell's going to break loose. I ain't got that issue. We don't have that issue here in the ISUPK. We don't have those Valentine's Day issues. No one's expecting no hearts and roses and chocolate-covered teddy bears and kisses from me. Right? Keep going.
That was the end of that article.
Oh, that's the end?
Yeah.
Scroll down a little more. Okay, cool. You can stop sharing that tab. You can stop sharing. Go to the next tab real quick. What's this? Scroll up. Okay, let's talk about the heart, right? Because everyone wants to know, where did this heart come from? This little heart-shaped design, right? There's many origins from it. One of the origins. Hold on, let's read this. Correct, Samantha. So the origins of the heart for Valentine's Day, they claim, goes back to a flower that was found in the northern Africa, Liberia, the coastlines of like Greek and Rome, called the silphyllum. Silphyllum. I think I have it open on one of these other pages. What does it say there?
Silphium?
Silphium, right? The silphium, the flower, you can find artifacts on it, and it's shaped kind of like the modern day image of a heart. And what that would be used for, that had many properties that it was used for. It was also used for as like a contraceptive, apparently, to help with help stopping a woman from getting pregnant. Yeah, you can click on that. And you just share that, Bubba Shah. Here it is right here. So this is what it kind of looks like. The flower. Scroll up a little more. That pink one right there. That's kind of what they're saying it looked like. A silphium seed pod, right? It was used as an early contraceptive to prevent pregnancy, right? But that apparently was cultivated until its extinction, right? So now one of the ideas of the heart shape for Valentine's Day or for love comes from the idea that it is the image of a woman's breast or a woman's behind. Like when a woman bends over, her butt kind of like pops out at the top and narrows down, kind of similar to the breast area where it's more round and kind of slims down to her waist. That's kind of the idea of where this heart shape comes from. So that's it on that. You can close this out. Go to the next tab. No, you can close that out. You can close that out. Go to the other one. Go back to the history one. Press the back button. One more time. Scroll down. Go to the Dark Origins. Go up. Right there. Don't share it. I want to look at it real quick. Scroll down. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. All right, that's it. Well, listen. Let's get into some scriptures, right? Because days like this, you're going to hear a lot about adultery, right? Men sleeping with other men's women, women sleeping with other men who are not their women, who are not their man. They're going to say, oh, that's cheating. Well, it's not cheating. It's actually adultery. Go to Exodus 20 and verse 14. Exodus chapter 20, verse 14. So we got the history down on Valentine's Day, and now we're going to get some scriptures that help support the idea that Valentine's Day is wrong because of the outcomes of Valentine's Day. Can you please read the scripture, please?
Exodus chapter 20 and verse 14. Thou shalt not commit adultery.
What?
Thou shalt not commit adultery.
If I'm not mistaken, this is part of the 10 Commandments that Moses gave to us when he came down from the mountaintop. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Now, many people don't really use the word adultery anymore. Almost everyone on earth uses the word cheating. And I greatly despise and dislike the word cheating because that's such a Western society word, idea, expression. Cheating is not in the Bible. A man sleeping with one woman and also sleeping with another woman, people will consider that cheating. That man is cheating on that first woman when it's not true at all. Men men, according to the Bible, are not capable of cheating. There's no such thing. That is a white concept, a European concept that our people have accepted to be true when it is actually false. We're gonna tell you what transpires from celebrating days like Valentine's Day. Can you go to Leviticus 20 and 10?
Leviticus chapter 20 and verse 10. And the man that committeth adultery with another man's wife.
What?
And the man that committeth adultery with another man's wife.
Is it a single woman?
Another man's wife.
Is it a woman that is not sleeping with anyone else?
Another man's wife.
So it's very specific here, right? You got to be careful. On Valentine's Day, you're going to go and buy LaQuisha and Maria and Juanita and Taquasia a Valentine's Day gift and take them out to eat. Going out and having a nice romantic time with them, having sex with them in the back of your car or in the park or on your mom or in your mama's house, right? And then the next day, Laquita, Maria, Juanita, Shaquanda, they're going to be going out on another Valentine's Day date with Jose. And then the next day they're going to go on a date with Raquan. And the next day they're going to go on a date with Rashid. And that same day, 6 hours later, they're going to go on a date with Tyrone, right? This is what adultery is. Adultery is when a man sleeps with a woman that already belongs to another man, right? Many people confuse that because of Christianity. Many people confuse and don't understand what this is. They call it cheating when a man sleeps with more than one woman. Right? They call it cheating when a woman sleeps with more than one man. That is adultery. That is adultery. Read it again.
Leviticus chapter 20 and verse 10. And the man that committeth adultery with another man's wife.
So if a man sleeps with another man's wife, another man's woman, keep going.
Even he that committeth adultery with his neighbor's wife.
Even that man who slept with that woman, keep going.
The adulterer and the adulteress shall.
And the woman. So let's not forget, it's talking about that man and that woman who both slept together. Even though that woman had another man already, keep going.
Shall surely be put to death.
Shall what?
Shall surely be put to death.
This is what happens on Valentine's Day. This is likely the case because that girl is just not making you think she's in love with you and giving up the box. She's giving up the box to other people too. And I hear stories at work, co-workers talking in the employees' lounge, and people on social media talking about this, that, and the third. That's all adultery. That's you being a whore. That's you engaging in whoredom and prostitution. It's absolutely disgusting. And Valentine's Day promotes this particular lifestyle. Valentine's Day will be causing a lot of people to engage in adultery, right? Let's go to Proverbs 6 and 32. Proverbs chapter 6 and verse 32.
Proverbs chapter 6 and verse 32. But whoso committeth adultery with
What?
whoso committeth adultery
So anyone that commits adultery, right?
with a woman lacketh understanding.
So all you guys, all you fellas, you need to be absolutely careful. Well, first of all, you shouldn't be celebrating Valentine's Day, right? You shouldn't be celebrating Valentine's Day at all. But if you're going to be dealing and engaging with a woman, you need to make sure she's not having sex with other men. You need to make sure she's not in any other type of relationship, or I know the cool kids call it entanglements. You got to make sure that she's not entangled with other men, right? Now, it's one thing to be with a woman and she's lying to you and telling and saying that she's not dealing with any other men. Listen, I understand she lied, right? But you should be doing your due diligence to make sure she's actually telling the truth. You should be, putting her under a microscope to make sure that she is a woman of solid character that is worthy and deserving to be called by your name, right? And this is talking about a man who commits adultery. You lack understanding. Listen, after watching this class today, and you still go and celebrate Valentine's Day, and you still going and sticking your rod into that woman, just know that she could be having other rods stuck all up in her too. Just know that you're probably not the only guy shooting up her club. Keep it that. Let's just keep it real. Keep in mind that you're not the only one, right? You just like you prove a friend, you got to prove a man. You got to prove a woman. Make sure they are of good character, that's worthy of being called by your name, fellas. You can't just be going and having sex with any random woman. Knowing this woman for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. Like, you need to get to know as much information about this woman as possible. Make her want to desire you. Right? Keep going.
He that doeth it destroyeth his own soul.
And by you going and celebrating Valentine's Day, you are at risk of destroying your soul. One, because you're celebrating a day that you should not be. But two, you could be engaging in adultery. You are lacking wisdom if you are engaging in adultery. And you are destroying your own soul. What's the next scripture?
The next verse.
Yep, next verse.
A wound and dishonor shall he get.
A what?
A wound and dishonor shall he get.
And that's very likely to happen, right? A wound doesn't necessarily have to mean, getting stabbed or getting hit. A wound could be you getting chlamydia because you wanted to have sex with a woman who's sleeping with a bunch of other people. A wound could be you getting HIV because you wanted to go raw dog into some whore who's having sex with half the people on the block. Keep going.
And his reproach shall not be wiped away.
It's dishonorable for you to get this wound. Imagine some brother coming into the school and telling General Hyman, yeah, I was dealing with this woman, and after meeting her after a month, just sleeping with her, and now I got chlamydia, now I got gonorrhea. Imagine telling General Hyman that you suffered this wound. How much dishonor will be attached to your name because you didn't have any discipline, right? You didn't have any discipline, and that reproach that's not gonna get wiped away. Brother, you will be marked and known as a man who cannot control himself and will sleep with whatever woman will sleep with him. That you are a man that is prone to contract sexually transmitted diseases because you have no control over your rod. You have no discipline, right? Drop that. Let's see what scripture. Let's see. We could go to Matthew 5:27, but that's just the New Testament saying, not to commit adultery. You know what? We're gonna stop there. We're going to cut it there. Any questions in the room? No? Any questions? Can you go on the chat real quick? Okay, perfect. All right, we're going to end the class here. All right? Listen, I'm Priest Ashagapan of the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Started out at 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General Yohana. And in the ISUPK, we've been teaching the truth according to the Bible. We've been teaching so-called blacks, so-called Hispanics, so-called Native Americans to stand for the Lord, his laws, statutes, and commandments, and to stop engaging in these heathen holidays. Stop engaging in these holidays that are created by these other people, these people of other nations and other races, because it only leads to your destruction. And with that, shalom, Israel.
Grand Ballroom, 2020 86th Street, Brooklyn, New York.
What happened to you, black man? You done gave up the ghost out here. You walking like the walking dead out here. We got to serve the Father in spirit and truth. We got to come back to the law, statutes, and commandments. Listen. Listen, what you bringing out is heavy, Q. Listen, a lot of you brothers is scared up under your woman. She threatening you and everything. Nigga, you better get me some chocolate flowers on Valentine's Day. You black women don't deserve a damn thing, man. Most of you deserve to be beat on Valentine's Day. That's what because you're horrible parents, man. Looking at these stories on the TV, trying to be hoes like these black female actors all on TV, man, trying something new, getting with white men and Chinese men and all that. Some of y'all need to be beat on Valentine's Day. And brothers, listen, have a backbone, man, like the brother bring it out. Tell your woman I ain't celebrating Valentine's Day no more. That ain't a godly holiday, man. Valentine's Day got a history behind it, man. A brother might bring it up. Ton of faggots, it come from a ton of faggots killing for each other, man, and pulling the heart out of another man on a Roman battlefield and giving it to his faggot lover, man. That's where the heart comes from. And a lot of you brothers stand up, tell your woman I ain't doing nothing on Valentine's Day. Hell, I love you all year. I love you all year. We go to dinner all year. I'm with you all year. And now you giving me an ultimatum? If I don't get you no chocolate, what? What? And a lot of you know that if you don't buy your woman no chocolate, she gonna go put Tyrone Rod in her mouth and send you the picture. She gonna put TJ Rod and email you the picture. So you scared, I better get her some chocolate. I know it's wrong, but I don't want to see Tyrone Rod in my woman's mouth. Guess what? Let Tyrone put the rod in her mouth. Forget that whore. The Lord might look upon you and bless you and send you a woman 10 times better than that whore, man.
That's right.
Black women been whores for too long, man.
That's right.
And you black men been weak up under these whores. That's right. Been weak as hell. Stand the hell up, man.
That's right.
Valentine's Day is a satanic holiday. That's right. All you do for your woman all year. And now if you don't get her no chocolate, she gonna go hoe on you. Let that bitch go.
That's right.
Let her go, man. And that's in the Bible.
That's right.
Jeremiah 3:1, get a general A. You understand? He gonna tell the truth about you, nappy head. What?
Yes, them have the heart of a pagan. Your children have the heart